She told me she stayed friends with her ex because he was family. I told her it didn't sit right with me. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Maybe you're just not secure enough to date me." So, for her birthday dinner, the one I had been planning for weeks, I invited her ex. They sat across from each other while I calmly read their entire message history aloud. 92 missed calls. She walked out before dessert. I've never thought of myself as jealous, controlling, or insecure. Those aren't words anyone would use to describe me. I've always believed in trust, in giving space, in letting people have their own connections. But there's a difference between trust and blindness, between being secure and being naive. It took me longer than it should have to realize that. I first met Vanessa at a wedding last spring. She was the maid of honor. I was there as an old college friend of the groom. We clicked instantly. One of those rare nights where hours slip by like minutes. By the end of it, we had dinner plans for the following weekend. Things moved fast. Vanessa was sharp, ambitious, beautiful. She worked as a hospital administrator and carried this infectious energy everywhere she went. Within months, we were practically living together, splitting time between our places. I was falling hard and it felt like she was falling too. About 4 months in, Jason's name came up. We were at dinner when she got a call. She glanced at the screen, stepped out, and returned minutes later. Asked who it was. "Just Jason," she said casually. "An old friend." A week later, while scrolling through her vacation photos, I noticed him in several. "Who's that?" I asked. "That's Jason," she replied quickly, swiping away. "The same one who called the other night." She hesitated. "Yeah, we dated a couple years, but we're just friends now. Always have been." He nodded. "People do stay friends with their exes. That's mature, right? Healthy even." But his name kept coming up. Little comments about conversations, jokes he'd made, advice he'd given. One evening I asked casually, "You and Jason talk a lot, huh?" She straightened. "Is that a problem?" "Not exactly," I said. "Just wondering why you're so close with an ex." She set her glass down. "Jason isn't just an ex. He's family." That was new. Family. His sister married my cousin. Holidays, gatherings, we're all close. He's part of the group. It sort of made sense, but her explanation felt rehearsed. Still, I let it go. I didn't want to be the suspicious boyfriend. But Jason's presence only grew. She'd step outside to take his calls, sometimes even mid-date. One night, I woke at 2 a.m. to find her missing from bed. She was in the living room, whispering and laughing on the phone. "He's going through something," she said when I asked. Eventually, I told her it made me uncomfortable. She hit back hard. "Maybe you're just not secure enough to date me." That stung. "It's not about insecurity," I said. "It's about boundaries. Would you be okay if I constantly texted my ex?" She crossed her arms. "If she was family? Yes." "He's not really your family," I said. "He's your ex who happens to be connected to your family." She looked at me with disappointment. "I thought you were different. Every guy gets weird about Jason. I expected better from you." And just like that, I found myself apologizing. For what? For having normal concerns. For feeling what any sane person would. Still, I backed down. I loved her. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was the problem. 2 weeks later, her laptop was open while she showered. We'd been working side by side all morning. A new message pinged. Without thinking, I glanced over. It was from Jason. "Last night was incredible. Still can't stop thinking about you. Can't wait for next time." My stomach dropped. Frozen, I opened their thread. It was all there. Months of explicit texts, secret meetups, private jokes about me. Jason had written, "He actually believes the family excuse. Not the brightest bulb, is he?" Vanessa replied, "He's sweet, but so clueless. Doesn't ask questions, which works for me." Kept reading. It wasn't a slip-up. This had been going on the whole time. I wasn't her partner. I was her cover, her fallback, her mask. Quietly, I took screenshots, sent them to myself, and closed the laptop. When she came out of the shower, I kissed her cheek and told her I had to head into the office. Instead, I went to a cafe and started planning. Her birthday was that weekend. I'd already booked us a romantic dinner downtown. I made 2 changes. First, I upped the reservation from 2 to 3. Second, I emailed Jason. I played it off like a surprise. Told him Vanessa always spoke about how close they were, how much he meant to her. I said I wanted him there to celebrate. Could he join us? He replied quickly, "That's really thoughtful, man. I'd love to come." Perfect. That night, I picked her up with flowers and a gift. A silver bracelet I'd bought weeks earlier, back when I still believed in us. "You look beautiful," I told her. She smiled. "Thank you. And thank you for doing this. Tonight will be special." "It will," I said. At the restaurant, I'd requested a booth near the entrance. I sat facing the door. Vanessa's back was to it. The third place setting was across from her. "Champagne to start," I told the waiter before she could respond. We talked for a while. She was relaxed, glowing, completely unaware. When the champagne arrived, I raised my glass. "To honesty," I said. She hesitated just a second, then clinked mine. "To honesty." And then the door opened. Jason walked in, scanning the room. I lifted my hand. The moment his eyes found us, found her, his expression shifted from friendly to panicked. He froze, torn between coming over or fleeing. I kept my smile steady, motioning him closer. Vanessa noticed my attention shift and turned. Her face drained of color when she saw him. What is he doing here?" she whispered, spinning back to me. "I invited him," I said lightly. "He's family, right? I thought he should be here for your birthday." Jason reached the table, clearly uncomfortable. "Hey, surprise," he muttered. "Jason, please have a seat." I gestured to the empty chair across from Vanessa. "I've been wanting to get to know you better." Jason's eyes flicked to Vanessa. She gave a tiny shake of her head. But it was too late. Backing out wasn't an option anymore. So he sat down. The tension at the table was suffocating, heavier than the air itself. Vanessa tried to recover, her voice steady but strained. "This is unexpected. Thank you for including Jason." I lifted my glass, still smiling. "Of course. I know how close you two are." The silence that followed was thick. Jason fidgeted with his napkin. Vanessa threw him looks that were equal parts warning and desperation. I kept my cheerful mask in place. "So, Jason," I said casually. "Vanessa tells me you go way back. Something about your sister marrying her cousin." Jason swallowed hard. Yeah. Something like that." "Interesting." He nodded. "Which cousin exactly?" Vanessa jumped in quickly, trying to steer things away. "It's complicated. Extended family. You wouldn't know them." "Try me," I said, still smiling. Another pause. Thankfully, the waiter arrived to take our orders, granting them both a momentary reprieve. But when he left, I reached into my bag, pulled out my tablet, and placed it gently on the table. Both Jason and Vanessa stared at it like it might explode. "You know what I thought might be fun?" I said, unlocking the screen. "Some light reading while we wait for appetizers." Vanessa's eyes widened with panic. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Just sharing a few interesting messages I came across," I replied calmly, clearing my throat. Then I began to read aloud, my tone even and steady. "Last night was incredible. Still thinking about how you felt. Can't wait for next time." I looked up at Jason. Very poetic. Their faces drained of what little color remained. Jason half rose, but I continued. "You really thought I'd buy that whole family connection excuse? Not exactly subtle." I turned to Vanessa. "That was your line, by the way, in case there's any confusion." "Stop this," she hissed, her eyes darting around the restaurant. "This is inappropriate." I chuckled softly. "Let's talk about inappropriate." Then I kept reading, explicit messages, secret meetups, times, locations. The little jokes they made about me, mocking my feelings, laughing at my so-called insecurity. Jason sat frozen in silence. Vanessa shifted from shock to fury. You went through my private messages, she spat, as if that were the problem. Yes, I said evenly. After I saw a message pop up on your laptop, it didn't take much to confirm. You had no right to lie to me, to make me question myself, to tell me I wasn't secure enough, when the truth was I wasn't gullible enough to ignore the signs. Jason finally spoke. Look, man. This is between you and Vanessa. I should go. No, I interrupted sharply. This involves you. You played your part. You helped her deceive me. You made me feel insane. You don't just walk away from this. I tilted my head. Shall I continue? Or should we skip straight to the part where you met up while I was at my grandmother's funeral? That one's especially touching. Vanessa shot to her feet, eyes brimming with angry tears. I'm not staying here for this. Before you go, I said, reaching into my coat pocket and placing a small box on the table. Happy birthday. She stared at it. It's the key to my apartment, I said. I packed your things. They're by the door. Don't worry about the key. I'm changing the locks tomorrow. She snatched the box and stormed out. Jason lingered too long. You should probably go too, I told him. Unless you'd like to hear more of the highlights. He muttered something that might have been an apology and followed her out. I stayed, ordered another bottle of champagne, and, for the first time in weeks, finally relaxed. The waiter, who had clearly caught on, approached with a look of sympathy mixed with respect. Still want the dessert with the candle? He asked. Absolutely, I said. No reason to waste good tiramisu. By the time I got home, Vanessa had called 47 times. By morning, the number had nearly doubled. I didn't answer. Her voicemail swung wildly. Sobbing apologies, angry accusations. Her texts mirrored them. She even sent friends to plead her case, insisting I had gone too far. I blocked them all. Changed my number a week later. Moved to a new apartment the next month. It's been 6 months now. From what I've heard, Vanessa and Jason gave it a try. It didn't last. Shocking, I know. Two people who built their connection on lies couldn't manage to trust each other. As for me, I'm doing better. Healing wasn't easy, but I've learned to trust my instincts. That little voice we dismiss as insecurity. More often than not, it's our gut catching what our heart refuses to face. I'm not someone who gets jealous easily. But I'm not someone you get to fool twice either. People say living well is the best revenge. Disagree. The best revenge is watching their faces as you read every word of their betrayal out loud, right in the middle of their own birthday dinner, and then finishing the dessert they had to abandon. It really was excellent. Tiramisu.